All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Doodads. This is actually our second one today. Yep. We did one this morning, did one this afternoon. Um, so stumbled across these guys not long ago when I was doing my boat shopping. I was looking at
Oh, that's
boat
kind
walkthrough.
of
Yeah,
yeah.
it was on YouTube. Came across these guys. So want to welcome to the show, Mr. Clay from Life by the Bow and owner of Avail Fishing Company, fishing apparel company, right?
Yeah,
Clay,
I mean, we just
thanks for coming on, buddy. I appreciate you.
definitely glad to be here. Yeah, so Life by the Bow, we started it a little over 4 years ago, and right around the same exact time, we started the brand Avail Gear, kind of meshed the two things together, and since then, it's kind of just been what we've been focusing on for the past 4 years of our life. It's been a grind and it's been fun, but each and every day presents a new challenge in fishing and boating because you know it's it can be tough some days, but hey, it is what it is. We enjoy it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm sure you hear this a lot, but it's like you're living the dream, right? If you're a outdoorsman or big fisherman or boater, whatever, like you would fantasize about what if we could make a living off of this? What if this was our life, right? And the great thing about today is all this technology and everything it affords us to be able to pursue something like that without asking for permission from anybody. Just saying, here's what we want to do. Let's do it. We love this stuff. You guys, we only been doing it for 4 years, but it looks like you've been doing it forever. Your production, we'll call it for lack of a better word, is incredible. I mean, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there. You're more like a actual show. Like there's actual production there, which is pretty fantastic. Um, so your YouTube came before the fishing apparel company.
No, actually, the apparel company came before the YouTube channel.
Okay.
But what came before all of that is my production background. So I actually had a production company prior to everything. And then, I wouldn't, yeah, I guess you could say, I mean, I kind of just got a little burnt out on that. And I was just like, man, I really just want to do something that I'm passionate about. Like, I want some type of stake in the fishing industry. And basically, I was like, well, where can I get started? How can I get started? How can I immediately start some type of company or some type of brand within the space? And I just thought, man, I'm gonna make shirts. Like let's just start there. And that was kind of like my first endeavor with the brand. And we nailed it. We found a really good supplier, and the quality was phenomenal. And then we just kind of told ourselves, once COVID happened, obviously nobody could really work. So a lot of the jobs that we had scheduled throughout the time of COVID obviously got canceled. We couldn't do them. So I tried doing the YouTube channel to basically just kind of live out that passion with the brand, mesh the two together, and just use the channel as a form of advertising for the brand. And it failed in the beginning, and I remember I think it was about a year went by, and that's when COVID hit. And I was like, well, really, my wife is the one that pushed me to do it. She was like, this is the perfect time for you to try your YouTube channel again because you have basically nothing to do. We have nothing to do at all. So that's what we did. We're like, you know what? Let's give this another shot. And I was like, you know what? I'm going all into this and I'm not going to quit. And that's kind of just what we did, just meshing the brand with the YouTube channel together. We didn't work really hard on it at first, but as it grew and we saw the progression and we saw the success, that's ultimately what drives everyone, right? So we
Yeah.
just went full force into the channel, full force into the brand, and till this day we still haven't really profited, but we're just consistently just trying to grow and just build the two companies up together.
Yeah, that's freaking
What
amazing.
what is the first shirt you made? How did that start?
So
Like where did you go? Like what did you put out? Like quality wise, what material? Like what was the first like what did you first put out?
So I actually have a shirt right here.
I have so many questions. This is a good nerdy spot to be.
So basically, this is
So,
actually one of
Okay.
the first designs I had ever made. So what a lot of people don't know about the brand is I design all of the stuff in the very office that we're sitting in right now.
Okay.
But this was one of the first shirts I ever made. And it's a polyester and spandex blend. So as you can see, it has a little bit of stretch in it.
Spandex blend. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what
I like
makes
that.
yeah, and like that's what all the big brands were
So you went to a
using.
performance shirt right off the bat. You didn't start with like a simple 100% cotton. Let me get the thing out there and then figure it out from there. You went right to how long did like, did you just go to a big website company at that time and get it? Like, how far have you gone down the rabbit hole of like how you get your shirts now? How did you find that process?
Well, it's honestly it's a lot easier than people think. You know, there's a website, it's called Alibaba.com. Are you guys familiar with
Oh
it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so then you just get onto Alibaba. They'll give you, thousands of lists of suppliers. And I'm just speaking for the people that are maybe watching
Yeah.
this that don't know, even though you guys know. You can find performance shirt suppliers, you can find hat
Yeah.
suppliers, you can find anything and everything that you would potentially ever want to make. I mean,
Yeah.
there's fishing reels, fishing rods, but the hardest part is just differentiating quality from the bad quality because there's
Oh yeah.
definitely a lot of suppliers on there that have terrible quality and probably about 1% have good quality. So you just got to find that 1%.
Yeah, we find that we buy a lot of shirts. My wife has a roofing company, and we buy a lot of performance tees.
Mhm.
And dude, I mean, just from every brand, it's just a little bit different. Something like it looked good online, then you get it breathes horribly. Everyone's sweating like crap in the shirt, like it does seem tough. It always seems, at least around us, it seems tough to find somebody that can do the t-shirt, that actually knows like,
More like a
hey,
fit too. Like, so, I mean, I like an athletic fit, right? Like,
a fit, but also like, hey, does it actually work? Have you ever tried this on yourself? Like no one ever knows. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, well, people order this one. I don't know.
I've seen, I don't know how long ago it was, because like I've over the past however many months gone down crazy rabbit holes with you guys' YouTube channel. Literally, not to like sound like too fanboy, it's
Yeah.
like it's how I start every day. I'll like come home from the gym in the morning. I got some quiet time, put on YouTube. I'm watching. I would say like three-quarters of stuff I'm watching right now is like your shows, whatever. And one of the ones I was like, dang, I got to get some of those shirts. Shirt was like super dirty or bloody, and the guy just jumped in the water and like washed it off, and it just came off. Because I like light colored fishing shirts or white fishing shirts,
Yeah.
but you get a day offshore tuna fishing and it's covered in blood, it's not coming out, not all the way anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I appreciate the kind words and I appreciate, you guys watching the channel, it means a lot to us, but I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's what a lot of people don't really realize, a lot of these fishing brands, you can buy a shirt, that's $30 and, you wear it and it's trashed after a day of fishing. But I have people that, have bought my shirts and they're still wearing them 2-3 years later for the stain resistant properties. It's not something that we try to market too hard, because it's like anything, it's stain resistant. It's not stain proof. So sure enough, something will happen. But yeah, man, I mean, that's really what we always try to focus on is just like really just delivering a high quality product that people want to wear. And it's rewarding because like, we showed up at the sandbar this weekend, down here in the Keys, and there's a bunch of different people wearing our shirts. And that's just such a cool thing. It's very rewarding, but at the same time, it kind of shows you like, hey, you're building a quality product.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's hard though.
Do you find that is there like a rabbit hole of quality depending on how big you get? Like, is there future shirt technologies like maybe that aren't available to you until you sell like a lot? Like, do the wholesalers or the manufacturers, they hold back depending on sales? Like, they like to kind of differentiate everyone having a
So
level
like, what's your orders going?
well, it's hard to sell the same thing to everybody that no one has the same, like construction. Like I can tell you right now, we have territories. You can't buy my product in this territory, so they can sell it in that area. You know what I mean? So like, does that happen in the t-shirt industry too?
That's a good question. Personally, I've never really ran into that. Uh, it's funny though because you get a lot of suppliers that lie. They'll sit there and they'll act like they make some of the top brands clothing, and then once you order from them, it's like, yeah, you guys, you're definitely full of it. Like you don't produce their product because you can see the quality. But yeah, I mean, what you're really saying is like a non-compete, right? Like, are you asking, can you just buy from, say, for example, like a big box brand supplier?
Well, if I imagine like any good business, you move yourself further down the rabbit hole of how many people you don't need a middleman, less middlemen. Like how much can you get directly right to the manufacturer
Well,
to help your profit and help
that's how
help the
Alibaba
savings?
works, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're going right to that manufacturer from Alibaba.
Okay, so Alibaba is the manufacturer,
Well, pretty much. They're
or
like
the
the
website
big
for the wholesaler.
Yeah, I mean, basically the way it works is Alibaba just provides a list of supplier.
Okay.
The biggest advantage to using Alibaba, like every single time we purchase inventory, we purchase through Alibaba because Alibaba essentially is that middleman and they keep the money. I don't know if they keep the money in escrow, but for example, there's been situations, and it just happened probably about a month ago. The supplier just made a shirt where the logo color was the wrong color. And the supplier's sitting there trying to negotiate with me, and they're like, "Oh, you can still sell this. You could just sell it at a discount." And I'm just like, "I'm not going to do that. This isn't what I ordered."
They do that, yeah.
So Alibaba actually stepped in, and they're like, "Hey guys, you need to give this guy his money back."
Okay.
So it just saves you time and effort with potentially having to deal with some of that hassle.
So you got your mafia boss there, stepping in, helping out.
Yeah. So because it's their business too, right? They can't have shitty suppliers, to all their customers. Everybody loses there.
Do you have? Let me get one more out. Sorry, I'm so sorry, man.
No,
go. Do you have a problem getting pink? We find that we can't find the nice pink that we like for our company. The whole company's coming in and it's all pink. Yeah.
So let me
we always
ask.
have a problem not finding like regular pink. Like we're looking for like a hot a hot fluorescent pink, and we can just never find it.
Is it a cotton material that you're looking for?
No, it's in the performance tees. That's where we suffer.
Performance, huh? So what's the deal with the shirts? Are they subliminal printed? Or
no, he's just talking about color, strict
just
color.
The color. So like when we go to our performance tees, it's so hard to find one that's not like just regular pink when we're always looking for like a hot pink, bright pink, like a floral pink, something like that. There's it never seems to be many options in the pink. I didn't know if that was a thing. That's what we find.
That's it. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, I can definitely understand that frustration. Like colors, like that's one of the biggest challenges I could say on our end too, because like you design it on the computer and then you send it over, and it just doesn't end up coming back the way you want it to look. So like I definitely understand that. One thing I do suggest maybe is try switching to subliminal printing, because because I have actually right here, it's called a Pantone card, and you have all the different Pantones right here. So
got the Sherwin-Williams shirts here.
Yeah. So what you can do is just, say for example, you're looking for, something like that hot pink right there.
Yeah. Come on, Jerry, let's go.
You can just tell the supplier like, hey, print on, this material Pantone 2346C and 2347C and so on. So they send it back to you, and then essentially you have all these different pinks that you can choose from.
Out here,
I don't know if you want to
about this.
No, he's cracked the code.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like right there.
Plus Series Pantone. So this is stuff I love. I can nerd out on this stuff all day. Did you find yourself like having to like? Did you get like crazy into the nuances of the filming and production, and then just took that right into t-shirts and drove yourself a little crazy with that too? Or
yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is like, I worked for a fishing show for a couple years as well. And while I was working for that fishing show, I noticed that, we were making content for sponsors. And, obviously these are brands in the fishing industry. And I started thinking to myself, well, if I'm making this content for some of the biggest brands in the fishing industry that I'm not even getting credited for, why can't I just make my own brand and use my marketing and my videography knowledge
Love it.
to
Yeah.
just put that forth and help myself rather than helping someone else? So that was kind of like the inspiration and kind of my thought process behind it. And ultimately, I can be out filming content. We could be in the Bahamas for a week. And as long as I have inventory, the YouTube channel, it's up there 24/7, 365 days a week. As long as someone's watching the content, they can see Avail Gear, and essentially I can be over in the Bahamas shooting content, but at the same exact time, I can sell shirts passively.
Yeah.
So that whole idea in my mind was just like, oh man, like this is the dream. Like this is what I want to make happen.
Isn't it great that like we can do that now? I mean, it's like 30 years ago, people couldn't do that. You know what I mean? You just said, hey, here's my idea. I'm going to run with it. And it's wild because we hear so many stories that happen, like kind of similar to this, right? Breakthroughs, maybe we'll call them, that happened during COVID, right? It's a lot of these things start with, during COVID, when we couldn't do this, we just decided to go all in on that.
Yeah.
And fast forward 3-4 years, it's like, holy shit, you've created a completely different life. You know what I mean? Which it's always fascinating to hear about that. And also, I mean, like big time attaboy, because you didn't just kind of sit there and twiddle your thumbs and say, well, we really can't do anything, Stephanie is a real estate agent, correct?
Correct. So
That's what I do full time too.
nice.
So one of the reasons why I kind of wanted her, I was hoping she'd be on today. But did she get kind of shut down during COVID, or did her business like explode?
So right around the time, like she became a real estate agent, I would say somewhere around like mid-COVID. It's something that
That's hard.
yeah. So it's something that she had always wanted to do. And, she kind of caught on to that tail end of COVID where real estate was still, somewhat good. She made some really nice sales, which was awesome. But yeah, I mean, it was really, really good for the time being. But obviously, I'm sure, as you guys know, things have kind of just slowed down a little bit, just, with interest rates and the elections, things along those lines.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys are in the Keys. Have you always been there? Did you move there from somewhere else?
So Stephanie, she moved down here from Miami when she was about 7 years old. So she was basically born and raised here. My parents were always vacationers. So we'd always kind of like come down on the weekends. But I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. I have an older brother and an older sister, and I'm the baby. So, obviously when my brother and sister were younger, my parents came to the Keys a lot. I was very young. But around the time that my brother and sister started getting older, they went to college. I'm 5 years away from my brother, 7 from my sister. My parents' focus went from, having fun with the kids, going down to the Keys, to putting their kids throughout college. And that kind of became their focus. So we stopped going to the Keys. But, man, once I got my driver's license and I could drive down to the Keys or tow my little skiff fishing, I was out here as much as I.
Hell yeah, man.
When Stephanie and I got together, we had a fantastic opportunity to move in down here. And that's what we did, man. And we never looked back.
That's awesome. I've only been down there one time, 3 years ago, and we went to Key West, me and my wife. So did the whole Duval Street thing and all that jazz, all the typical stuff down there, and absolutely fell in love with it. I want to experience more of it. I want to go back to Key West. Actually, halfway through our vacation at Key West, we both got COVID. So we started like feeling like crap, like the 3rd day in. And it actually started with I was fishing. I was like, the time we had, I'm like, I want to at least do half a day. I want to catch a big tarpon. That was like bucket list. I want to catch a giant tarpon while we're down there. And So we're on the boat, and she's like, "I'm cold. I can't get warm." And thinking it's just cooler out. Well, then lo and behold, that's like a fever was slowly coming on and all that. So kind of got gypped a little bit by it, and I never got my tarpon. But actually, we did hook into one, and it was running off. I got to see it come out of the water, jump right into the sunset, and through the hook, and that was it. That was all she wrote.
Yeah, that's nice.
But
That's tarpon
I mean,
fishing,
it was
man.
it was big. It was like 100-ish pound fish. It was a nice one for sure. But I didn't want small fish. It was like this is I will be able to go all in for just this one fish or nothing. I'm completely fine with that. You know what I mean? But next time I want to spend more time. I would like to go to places, like Marathon and explore other
Yeah.
parts of the Keys. I mean, a little more rural
I
stuff.
want to get in the water, man. We went down, and it was the worst 2 weeks of weather.
Yeah.
It was like raining,
Yeah.
stormy. Locals were like, "Wow, this is usually the nicest 2 weeks." I'm like, "Great." I'm like, "Great." I didn't realize there's like barely any beaches. It was all rocks. I'm like, "Can I get on a beach somewhere?" Like,
Yeah, what's funny about that, a lot of people don't really realize it, but like we don't really have beaches down here in the Keys.
Yeah,
We have
no.
sandbars. And especially the upper Keys. Like the upper Keys, there's like 3 places that you can go to get a sandbar. And of course, they're all just packed with boats. But
yeah,
man, the lower Keys from Big Pine down to Key West has some of the most beautiful sandbars that you can find in all of Florida. And in my opinion, somewhat replicates the Bahamas. And if you get back in some of those islands, you can actually find beaches. There's tons of beaches back there. You just have to be able to get on the boat to access those
Yeah.
places. So that's kind of like a little piece of advice for anybody.
I look at
coming
the real estate down there, but damn, it's expensive.
Yeah,
fucking
it's
Key West.
yeah. I mean, the average price point here is like the upper 300s. I mean, if you have 5 or 600,000 to spend on a house, you can get something really, really nice. And I don't know how far a $500,000 will go in Key West.
Not very far.
Yeah, right.
Not go
Right,
very
man.
far. I mean,
No-
if
no
you're
doubt.
lucky to find a home on the water for $1 million down here now, and like trailers sell on the water for about $500,000 if you're lucky. So like you're basically just demolishing the trailer and
Yeah.
you're paying for the property.
Is that what you're seeing folks are doing? They're kind of coming down there as they're finding these little bungalows, mobile homes, whatever, and then just buying it strictly for the land value.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, of course, you have a lot of investors that come down that just buy multi-million-dollar properties. Some people come down here to live, and some people just come down and just buy a little trailer, demolish it, and build their dream home. It all kind of like depends on their goals and what they actually want to do with the home.
Yeah.
But, the number is probably wrong, but I'm just saying this based off of just like trying to pull it out of my brain cells right now. Like, as of now, the Keys has more vacant homes than it ever has before. So you just have people that are just buying up all of these vacation homes, and there's no one there, So
Wow.
there's just a lot of vacant homes, and then you have a lot of people doing the rentals, and it's
A lot of hedge funds buying properties like that. A lot of hedge funds doing that. And
That's crazy.
I mean, even where we live, dude, I mean, people will buy a perfectly fine house, knock it down, put a McMansion up,
If you saw our beaches and what people pay to vacation here, you would probably lose your mind. Like, why are people paying that much money to stay in brown water beaches?
It's tax-free shopping, dude.
It's even me, like we don't, we're an hour away from the beach and we go down there all the time. I love it. Love boating, fishing, all the great things. But then you'll see a really nice house on the beach, and it Airbnbs for between $15,000 and $20,000 a week. And people drive down from Pennsylvania and New York City and they pay for it. Like,
For what?
I'm fairly certain I could find a really nice spot in Key West for the week for 15 grand. You know what I mean?
On a down payment, you know what I mean? Or something else.
And look, you like right now, so we're in April, you'd be hard pressed to find anything to rent in our beaches all summer long. People start for like next year. You know what I mean? It's wild to me. It's a completely different world, man. So what's in season right now? What are you guys
hear
fishing
him?
for nowadays?
Can we hear him?
Yeah.
No, we can't.
Oh shoot, I lost you.
Always some technical difficulties around here.
Can you hear me?
There we
Yeah.
go.
Hear me? Hello. Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So now, what are you guys fishing for right now this time of year?
Man, right now things are starting to heat up. It's getting pretty good. We actually did some spear fishing last week on the Rex. We shot some wahoo. Some guys are catching mahi. Some guys are catching tuna. There's permit on the offshore Rex. There's snook in the backcountry. I mean, spring is just a great time to come down here. And when the fishing is good, there you can catch just about anything and everything. You know,
How much of your catch is your diet? How much are you eating?
believe it or not a lot of it.
No?
Um, you know, we're not huge into fish. Man, I like a steak. I like a nice piece of like chicken, like chicken. I'm big into recipes. My mom was a really good cook growing up as a kid. She's still a great cook. So like, I don't know. It's just when you're around fish all the time and the bait and that sort of stuff, by the time you fillet it, you're just kind of in the mood for chicken or steak, if that makes
You're in the
sense.
mood for someone else to cook. You're like, what, fillet this shit. My hands smell like bait. You know what I mean? Good.
I could,
Pretty much.
I could understand that. I can
could fuck
understand
up
that
some
for sure.
striper. I could fuck up some striper right now.
Yeah,
Like,
ours,
striper steak.
ours is just picking up. Like it's getting ready to get really good for rockfish, stripers. I actually went out fishing for the first time yesterday. Didn't catch anything but catfish. And then we'll have black drum will come on soon, and I'm talking big, like larger game fish. I don't do a whole lot of like landlocked fishing. Um, and then tuna will start end of May. But dude, for us, the first tuna usually caught is the guy that wants to run 100 miles to the water. You know what I mean? Where like you might get a warm water break like 100 miles away, and somebody will do it just to say they're the first person to bring back, yellowfin to the dock and kind of kick off the year. I don't really want that fuel bill though, to be honest with you.
What kind of boats do you have? What are you using like daily?
So we have our 24 Pathfinder that we've had for a little over a year. We used to have a 39 Contender. We sold that probably about 3 or 4 months ago. We just partnered with a new boat company called Front Runner Boats. So they're supposed to be delivering our 39. We're hoping in May. So yeah, man, it's a good thing we got going on because we have the Bay boat, which, in my honest opinion, I use for almost all types of fishing down in the Keys. Because
Yeah, how far are you going?
We'll go as far as 30 miles to Swordfish, and I've taken it as far as 150 miles to Chub Key over in the Bahamas.
What's your normal radius? Like, what do you need down there? 10 miles, that's it, or just stay within 10 miles?
I would say around 20, 30. 20,
Okay.
30 is like our typical summertime range,
Okay.
just to catch the mahi and do deep dropping. But man, during the spring, we're catching sailfish, mutton snappers, kingfish 5 miles offshore.
Gosh, that's
Can you
crazy.
imagine that fucking ride?
No.
Hey, I'll be back real quick.
Dude, we leave. We'll push off a dock at 3 a.m. And once you break the inlet, it's like you settle into a beanbag and all right, I'm gonna sleep for 2.5 hours. Wake me up when we're getting close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I don't do it here. I do a lot of bass fishing. I'll do the bays, but when these guys are like, you want to go out 100 miles, I'm like, absolutely not, for the stupid ass fish that we barely have. I'm like, how about we plan a trip to the Keys or somewhere else and let's go really do it, man.
It's true, man. When the fuel bill adds up, sometimes it's better to just come down here and take a charter.
Hell yeah.
And the boat,
Charters are nice because sometimes you don't have to worry about anything, and when you get done, you just leave. You don't clean the boat. You don't have to do all that stuff. But I also like the whole experience of running the cockpit. I mean, I don't really want to mate. I think the fun is the mating. The fun is all the mayhem that comes along with trolling 12 rods and having, 5 knockdowns at one time, and everybody's on with the tuna, and the craziness of that. I like that stuff. You know what I mean? Killing the fish is the bonus.
How far can I go down there with almost 19-foot John boat modified V?
Man, to be brutally honest, you can go as far as you want as long as it's calm.
That's
You
what I'm talking
know,
about.
that's
As long as it's
kind
calm.
Dude, I want to drive. That's my plan, is to take this boat down south.
Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, it's
Yeah, he
funny.
just bought
you know,
a Grizzly John boat.
Tracker.
Yeah, it's really good up here for our back bays, for our little creeks and marshes and stuff. It's like a really good boat for that, you know.
But I'm thinking also like down there, like where it's fairly calm, you know, like you're saying, because you don't have to go far. You
No.
know?
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
like your negativity towards my idea. But look, man, you'll fuck your fucking 21-foot boat, all right?
Dude, it's one of those things where like you get real. Well, we've all had gnarly days out on the water, right? When it's just
definitely.
all the apps say everything's great. The weatherman says everything's great, and then for some reason, it's the opposite. You know, like why is it said 1 to 3, but it's 4 to 6?
I don't need to be
Yeah.
Lieutenant Dan out there fucking
that's-
hollering. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to go on a calm day,
Yeah,
2 miles out and catch little fish. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Something
Yeah.
just to cut up a little sushi. You know, just something to make that trip a little day. You know?
yeah.
Man, if I were you, then I'd bring it down, find yourself a calm day, go to the Island Murata hump, troll some lures
Island
there.
Rod Hump. Is that what it's called?
Island Murata hump.
Oh,
There's-
Island Rod Hump. I'm gonna look that up all night, but I probably nerd out on it all night.
Yeah,
There's also the
man.
Marathon hump, and you know
Dude.
it's a freaking parking lot out there with all the boats. But if you can get out there early enough before everyone else, do a little bit of trolling, man. I mean, it's almost like a guarantee that you're going to catch tuna there every single time.
How is the fishery in the Keys? I read I buy the Florida Florida I don't even know how it's called, Florida Fisherman, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks a lot about the Keys, or it talks a lot about southern Florida and how much coral reefs are dissipating, how they're seeing even the fish, certain species dissipating. I don't know how much that's affecting the Keys. They talk about, they keep adding in fake coral reef spots, you know, with the balls they make or dropping a ship, but they do talk about their numbers going down in Florida. And I read about this. I don't know if you see that in the Keys as well. Even the Great Barrier Reef, that whole fucking thing is dying off.
You know, it's kind of funny. I actually heard something about the Barrier Reef, and I don't know if this is true or not, but you know, you can't believe anything that you hear on the internet. But I have heard somewhere that the Barrier Reef is just as healthy as it's ever been. Don't quote me. This is just something I heard.
Are you going against Discovery Channel? This is big
Yeah.
news, bro.
I don't- That's what I'm saying. You never know really what
You
to
never know.
believe. But to answer your question about the Keys, you know, I just want to kind of go back to COVID. When COVID first happened, there was absolutely nobody on the water. I remember when we go out fishing and man, we would drop like I was a pro fisherman during COVID because every single time we went out, we would catch something and we would do pretty well. And then, of course, after COVID, when everybody started discovering boating and fishing, it got a lot tougher. And, you know, I don't think there's been as many fish taken out of the ocean, you know, within the past 5 years as there's ever been. You know, it's just there's so many more boats on the water. There's so many more people fishing. Unfortunately, there's a big ego problem with fishing too. People catch and keep way more fish than they need to. In addition to that, Florida has a massive water quality issue, which you guys, I'm sure, you know, are very well aware of. And there's
That's a solid pause.
Froze.
That's
There we
like
go.
Key West fucking internet right
Here we go.
there. You know what I mean? That shit is.
Hold on. Hey, you there? We got you froze up. Come on back, Clay.
Here's
There we go.
background of the house. Yeah,
All right, we got you now.
almost.
Kinda.
Baby, come back. I can give you all my love.
There we go.
Hey, oh, we're
You
good.
guys can hear me good?
Yeah. Hey,
Perfect.
so where's the best key lime pie?
Best key lime pie? You know, I mean, everybody's kind of got it dialed in down here, man. Just pick your best restaurant, and I think
Where's yours? I mean,
in the upper keys, easily the best spot I would say is probably Square Grouper.
Square Grouper. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
look
just
that up tonight too.
yeah, check it out. It's got a really nice atmosphere. All the people that work there, all the waiters and waitresses, they're all just like so happy. They have like such a good vibe going on, and it's
Yeah.
just good food. Like they just it's good food, good people, and good atmosphere. A little
Yeah.
upper scale, which is nice if you're into that whole thing. But if you're into something like a little more low key, more of like a Keysy vibe, you know, you want to sit out on the water, that sort of thing. Square Grouper's on the water as well, but it's in like a marina. But one of our like go-to places is Hog Heaven in Island Murata.
Hog Heaven.
Yeah, and it's actually like a great party spot too. Like for example, if you want to go out, you know, you want some, you know, live music, like that kind of club feel where you could dance, you know, go and hang out at the bar, that type of thing. Like Hog Heaven is like the number one spot to go to in the Upper Keys.
That's awesome, man. So you guys, you know, any minute now, basically you're going to be parents. So what's the next couple months going to look like for you as far as content and stuff like that? How often are you going? You're coming into the, you know, the start of the fishing season. You're going to be a new dad. You didn't plan that out very well. But
Be 4 a.m. You'll be holding a baby like, what the fuck? I got to fish now.
yeah, but, so what? So, but because I mean, now this is your livelihood too. Like, are you going to take some time away? Are you going to document a little bit with the kid, or what are you guys doing?
Yeah, that's a good question, man.
They don't
But
know, man. There's no fucking handbook for this thing.
But no, I mean, to answer your question, some sort, I mean, as of right now, we have plans of continuing exactly what we're doing. My mom and my mother in law, they both live down here in the Keys. They're both very close. So we're hoping to pass the baby to them in order to film content. Exactly. So I don't know how that's going to work out, especially with her breastfeeding, but we're going to make it work, man. I mean, as of right now, she's had to have been a little more passive ever since, you know, she became a little more pregnant. So I've been kind of just carrying things. So if I have, if I had to do that for a little while, no worries, man. And then eventually, you know, have her, you know, get back where she was. But we have plans of, you know, making it family friendly, fun, and getting the baby involved too.
Dude, I love it, and I figured that's kind of where you were at. And I'm acting like I know you guys. I don't know you guys, but when I got to see a little bit of the progression, right? And I know that
you're showing your fanboy side.
Yeah, the most recent. It is. I'm sure that's why she wasn't on like the most recent show with when you guys were trolling for Wahoo, and you were at the new boat manufacturer and all that stuff. I'm assuming that's why, because it's getting close to that time where she's not making these big trips anymore.
Yeah, as much as she wanted to be there, that was like a 6-hour car ride. So I guess I'm sure, as you guys know, once you become that far along, they don't want you to be in the car for an extended period of time. Yeah. So she wanted to go up and be a part of it, but yeah, it's just we kind of just decided we're just gonna let her hang tight and just focus on just enjoying the last stage of her pregnancy, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for to start that baby apparel line up, yeah.
Well, we got a youth line. We have a youth line.
You need the toddler, man. Everybody will be buying your little thing. You need that toddler baby series, man.
Avail onesies.
Yeah.
You know,
Avail onesies with little fishing pole. Yeah.
Oh God, goodness gracious! No, that's super cool, dude. And I'm excited to see, you know, the future of the show and all that, and kind of like how we'll think like 5 years from now, right? Like integrating things like that. And I know, you know, I don't know how much happens on your way. I'm a big hunter, so like in the fall and winter time, it's hunting nonstop. You know, I would prefer that over fishing and crabbing and stuff like that. But outdoorsman all year long, but my son just got to the age where he's really getting into it now. Being 6 years old, he shot his first deer. He shot his first 2 deer this year. I've got videos of him when he was 5. We run trot lines for crabs, and he's dipping crabs, off the trot line, put them in a basket, and fighting. I say fighting, catching little white perch and croaker off the back of my little boat, and it looks like he's offshore, like fighting tuna. I mean, he's like pumping. You know what I mean? And this little ultralight is doubled over with these little, 8-inch perch he's catching, but he's ate up with it though. And that's matter of fact, when I went to go fishing yesterday, the day before, he found out I was going, and he was like pissed off that I wasn't taking him. You said we're supposed to go, and it was cold. I mean, it was blowing 15 miles an hour. The water's 45 degrees. It's cold out there, and I'm like, dude, you can't come, buddy. And he's like, no, but I like the cold. I'll be fine. I'm like, no, I can't put you through that. I mean, it's not going to be fun. I promise you. But he's ate up with it. So I'm going to like seeing that, because I'm sure you guys are going to have some pretty incredible adventures.
I appreciate that. So I actually have a question for you. Did you not take him out on that cold day just because you wanted to keep him in it? You didn't want to give him a bad experience, so to speak.
That's it, because I know he wants to go, and I love that he wants to go so bad. But I also I've been there before with him in other situations where, like, I know you think it's not going to be as bad as it is, but it's where I have a little center console. There's nowhere to go to get warm. You know what I mean? So, it was just I know that we were leaving early. Not that the early morning matters, but yeah, it would be an hour in. He'd be miserable and want to go home, and I don't want that to be the miserable. I don't want him to experience the miserable stuff, right?
Young kids don't tough it out. They just let you know right away. I'm gonna go home.
And like,
they're like, we just got here.
That doesn't mean like I'm not a gentle parent either. Like I'm like really tactical about the tough situations I'll put him in. Right? There's the times where we're gonna make it a little tougher and might have to suck it up sometimes. But I'm not gonna put you in danger to be like in pain and crying because it's so cold out. I was bundled up in hunting bibs, jacket, hoodie on. It was chilly. So like, yeah, that's really the reason why. I've had other times where it's been beautiful outside, and he's like, I want to go home now. Yeah, because that's what 4, 5, 6-year-olds do. Oh yeah, if you're not catching, yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, they don't understand catching and fishing. They're like, you gonna catch a fish yet or what? I'm like, it's part. No,
yeah,
no, we're not.
Yeah. I feel like you have to start small, right? Like take them, to catch the perch, like you're talking about, where he's just catching them back to back, and then slowly let them transition to where it's like, hey, I want to go out and catch a mahi next. Make them make that decision, right? Because I kind of feel like if you force them into it, they may not enjoy it.
You provide the opportunity for them to find the love themselves. Because if you try to instill it in them, it just won't be genuine.
Well, something I've always said is like, you can't put it in them, but you could take it out of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want you to hate it. So like both of my kids caught their first fish on a bobber in a pond, and you're catching little sunnies and little bass, and then it graduates. And crabbing is really good because crabbing is fast paced and there's a lot of action, and you usually catch a lot, right? So that's a good thing. And then it goes to like, the perch and croaker here, we're just going to go hammer them, and it's going to be a great time. And now he's to the point where he's saying, I can't wait till I get older so I can go out on Mr. Paul's boat and catch tuna. Like, he knows he's not ready for that quite yet. He's not going to be able to fight a 60-pound yellowfin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once they find the love, then you can ask more of them.
Yeah. So
you don't have to like try and coerce them into adult.
Yeah. You guys are in a really good situation because you can shoot out, catch a mahi real quick, especially if you get on like the little tiny, the little ones that are right off the nursery. That's really fun to catch too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Where exactly are you guys at? Your approximate location when you guys go out fishing?
So we're in Delaware, so right below Pennsylvania, just north of Maryland, Virginia. So when you head east from Delaware, we usually leave out of Ocean City, Maryland. I'm sure you've heard of the fishing Ocean City, White Marlin Open, the tuna tournament, all that. Like that's our area. So we put out there most of the time. It's a closer run to the canyons. So in the early year, you're really just targeting the warm water breaks where the temperature breaks And then as the summer goes on, the fish kind of scatter and you can catch tuna really close. When I say really close, 20, 30 miles. And you don't necessarily have to find that warm water. Um, but yeah, that's where we're at. So lots of inshore stuff, flounder, sea bass, tog, all those things, and then the offshore species we call offshore mahi, tuna, swordfish, all the billfish, that sort of thing.
Yeah, sounds
But
like a cool deal.
yeah, I mean, I think you would like Ocean City, Maryland, if you came up to Ocean City, Maryland, especially when like offshore fishing is hot and heavy. It's cool. There's a good culture there. I feel like there's some really cool restaurants, really good boating, a lot of big sport
It's
fishers.
different. It's the Northeast. Like we're
Yeah.
not the we don't have the chickens running around in the road Key West. We have like, yo, check out the boardwalk, get your pizza.
look
You know what I mean?
Well, look at you guys. A lot of you guys have center consoles, right?
Mhm.
And is there a whole lot of sport fishers down there?
The guys that have the big money, I mean, there's a whole portion of the Keys that a lot of people don't know about. It's like the northern part of the Keys. It's called Ocean Reef, and almost like you have to pay a membership just to even get in there. And like, there's a lot of guys in there that are just multimillionaires. A lot of sport fishing boats there, but no, not really a lot of them in the Keys. It's just center consoles are just so big down here. People love them. And it's so funny the way that our center console market has gotten, because the boats have gotten so big,
Yeah.
and the price points have gotten so high to the point where it's like, well, you have a guy that purchases, like, say a boat like 53 Hydrosports, and that boat is a couple $1,000,000. Well, why wouldn't you just buy a sport fishing boat? But I guess everybody uses their boat for a different reason, and it's just funny, the diversity in boats down here in the Keys in South Florida and Miami. You got go fast boats, you got basically center console yachts, you have sport fishing boats. There's just like such a big diversity. But when you get down to the Keys, one thing I can say is you'll see more bay boats than anything. And it kind of just goes back to the conversation I was having with you guys originally. It's just, you can do basically everything out of a bay boat, and you just don't really have to go that far,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got more of a blue collar availability of fishing there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right though. Some of those new set like the 54 yellowfins and like they're freaking yachts, man. I mean, the inside of those consoles they're better than a lot of sport fishing
Bro,
boats
they're
I've been
nice.
on, man.
I got one of my buddies. He buys between a $500,000 and $600,000 boat. And like, remember I just showed you his racing boat?
Yeah,
We just trade that in for a center console with $500. So it's like, what the fuck, man? What you gonna do? It goes in the river. It's like there's a whole other life too.
Yeah.
Like we also have large rivers, like the Chesapeake Bay, going into the tributaries where you're allowed to run your boat 180 miles an hour if you want. So there's a different lifestyle there. And those boats, $10,000 props on them. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You go up the river?
But you
it's
know what?
crazy.
I get it though, because like, say for example, something like a sport fishing boat, of course, like you can take that over to the Bahamas, or you could do, any type of long range trip on that boat. But the difference between like a sport fishing boat and a center console, you're going to get there so much faster. Can't sleep on it as comfortably as a sport fishing boat, but would you rather sleep in a boat, or would you rather sleep in a Bahamian resort?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think it goes back to what you said earlier too about ego. It's just people like to show up to the dock like, oh, that's your boat, well, this is mine. You know what I mean? It's all the same.
And we're all guilty to it. Like our new boat, we're putting 4 engines on the back of it, and we make like there's a song we have this ongoing joke. It's like the reason why we didn't put 3 engines on the boat is because we can fit 4. So like,
you don't want to buy it later. You can just get on there now. You know what I mean? You got the empty space.
my my buddy just took delivery of the new Grady White Freedom 415, the dual console. I don't know if you've seen that. And it has I think four 450 Yamahas.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never fished. Like, how do you fight a tuna on the back with the whole transom 13 foot wide has motors on it? I don't like, what do I guess just
They don't fish.
getting no, he fishes.
He might be the only one. Most of these guys with 7 engines across the back, like, this bitch don't fish.
But no, there's so many of those big, like the contenders and stuff. They're huge fishing boats. And, you always fight it at the transom, but I guess when you get just like, I guess twins, the same thing. You kind of get to the side, you're gaffing fish off the side, and once you get that close, you kind of can maneuver the boat around. Just logistically, it seems it's challenging.
Well, we'll find out. You let us know how the 4 engines go.
It's so funny, and I tell this to like some of my closest family and friends. I catch more fish out of my bay boat than I've ever caught out of a big center console. If you got the crew to fill the center console with, and everybody's dialed in and everybody knows what to do, you can probably catch more fish out of a center console. But, when it comes to just me and my wife fishing, I mean, our 24-foot bay boat, I mean, it gets the job done perfectly fine. I mean, to be brutally honest, the only reason why we have a big center console is because I just love boats. I'm a boat enthusiast, and I love the Bahamas. Other than that, when it comes to just strictly fishing in the Keys, I see absolutely no reason to have a big fishing boat. You just don't need it.
Yeah.
When you're filming for those fishing companies, did you ever have to be like a deckhand? Did you have to work a sport fishing boat or anything like that?
No, and that's something that's kind of funny. I actually really didn't know how to fish until I started Life by the Bow about 4 years ago.
Dive the fuck in. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, my dad took me a handful of times growing up as a kid, like mahi trolling. My dad wasn't really a spear fisherman, or he was a little bit of a spear fisherman. He wasn't a fisherman, but mainly just kind of a sandbar guy. I didn't learn how to fish from anybody. I didn't have any mentors, so I basically just taught myself throughout these past 4 years. And when it comes to creating content, obviously you can't go out and go fishing after the same fish every single time. So I was kind of forced to diversify myself and just watch a lot of YouTube, go out fishing a lot, and consistently fail until I got to the point where I was good enough to go out and catch a fish like a sailfish or a swordfish, some of the more difficult species.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. This morning we recorded another one with a guy in the hunting industry. He has a brand called Run and Arrow, and I'm actually on their field staff. And we were talking about just the challenges that come along with filming hunting content because, I mean, hunting, really anything outdoors is hard to do. It's hard to be successful at, to like shoot a deer or catch a big fish. And then add on top of that, you're trying to create a TV show around it, right? Or like good quality film content. It's a completely different ball game now, right? Like he said something good that made perfect sense. Like, when you're filming a deer hunt, it's like you got to kill the deer twice because you have to be able to catch good shots, good footage, and then also harvest the animal, right? Be success because everybody wants to be successful, right? It's not the point of it, but it kind of also is. You kind of answered my question with you fairly newer to hardcore fishing, I say. So you probably don't know much different, right? Have you always filmed all your fishing trips recently?
Yeah, I mean, every single time I go fishing, there's a camera involved, just because you never really know what's going to happen. And when you commit to something like this, you give up fishing for fun. Essentially, you give up boating for fun. If you want to go out fishing for fun, or you want to go out on the boat for fun, it's almost like going to work. Because
what are we doing in our lives? What are we doing?
Well,
we fucked up, man. Can we come down to the Keys? You need a partner. Fuck this, man. I'm trying to go fishing every day.
I could be
coming.
Yeah, I'm saying I could be a good.
This cold northeast weather.
I could be a good mate.
Probably beautiful down there.
Yeah, what's your temperature down there right now?
Right now, I'd say it's probably in the high 70s, but man, it is blowing right now. It's such a blessing to do what we do. I really do think that God does have like an ultimate plan, and I think I wouldn't be here without his purpose and his plan, because this just doesn't happen to everybody. I don't mean to sound cheesy or weird, but like I just feel a fire inside of me sometimes that I
Yeah.
have nobody to blame other than him, man. Um, and it's just I think everybody's capable of doing something like we're doing. Man, you just got to put in the work. You got to be dedicated.
Yeah.
You got to be.
Most people are scared to step over that line of going for something.
Yeah.
People just have a fear, man. They can't step over.
Well, you think, well, that's for somebody else. That's not for me. But really is like, well, just do it.
He saw the algorithm. He saw behind the scenes for like how many years did you do it?
Film the fishing shows.
Yeah.
I worked for the company for probably about 4 years.
4 years. He's like, I think I know everything. You know what? I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it for myself. Actually, I could do both sides of this and make it my life. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that you said you started a YouTube channel and it really didn't do anything, and then you kind of revisited it and said, okay, now I really gotta do this. So it's not, I think 99% of people will just try it, they'll fail, and then it's like, well, that wasn't for me. It didn't work out. But we all fail.
I'm so ready. What are we doing with this pot? Can we be on a boat in Bahamas? Fucking.
It's
coming, man.
It's funny though, man, because like some people, they just don't pay attention. I mean, with the internet being the way that it is today, everything is right there in front of your face. If you want to be successful on a platform like YouTube, just look at what everybody else is doing and see what's working for them. But that could also be bad advice at the same exact time, because I think originality really plays a big part in it too. Going back to what you guys were talking about with hunting shows, fishing shows are exactly the same. I mean, you can look at some of the top guys in the fishing industry. They're all going to the same exact places. They're all doing the same exact thing. And they're all basically filming the same exact show. And I'm subject to that sometimes too. But I think that you really have to just kind of bring something new to the table. And it's tough sometimes. It's tough.
Dude, I'm going to ask the same question I asked earlier on an earlier podcast. Do you do any blooper reels or plan to? Or have them?
It's funny because we actually try to include our bloopers into the show, and that I'm very glad you asked that question, because everybody is so serious in the fishing industry and they want to exemplify themselves as like, I'm a fisherman, and that's great. Like if that's your take and it's all about catching the biggest and the baddest species, it's worked for them. But what we found, what works for us, is just being ourselves. Like if I run the boat aground, guess what? It's going up on there. If I break a rod, it's going up on there. If I trip, if I fall, I'm like, thank God that just happened, because that's great content,
And it makes you applicable to everyone else who has regular lives, who fucks up in regular ways.
None of us are immune to that shit. It's going to happen.
I brought up I always watch Bill Dance bloopers. I watch Bill Dance every Saturday morning. He always had the bloopers on there.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great.
Yeah. It's like, what people go, what's Bill Dance doing where all this stuff he does, he just messes up. Like, no, that happens to everybody. That happens to all of us. He's just the only one that shows it.
Exactly.
Sometimes I
People
cast
love
into a
that.
tree like, fucker. Damn it.
And I think a big thing is too, man, is just like when you can show your weaknesses and you can show your screw ups, like it just makes you so much more confident, It really all just boils down to, it boils down to just like, this is who I am. If you got a problem with it, sorry, but like,
I find it so weird when people cannot be themselves, cannot show weakness or their faults. It's like, like when people talk about bullying in school, like I'm gonna teach my kid make fun of yourself first and take your power away from them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
same thing with life. Like if I have a fault, I say it first. I don't give a shit. Why would I hide that? And it makes me more powerful. And then whoever's weak is like, oh, I wouldn't dare say mine. And then I know they're eating with their own security. I'm like, see ya, we're done with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
and that goes right along with the outdoor influencer industry.
A lot of ego.
Like, the parallels between the hunting and the fishing industries, right? Like everybody in the hunting industry wants to shoot the biggest deer, and it's all about shooting these big giant, 170, 180, 200 class whitetails. But like that's not the average hunter. You know what I mean? And like the guys that only do certain things, that are only on sport fishing boats, or catch certain species of fish, or killing everything, right? That's not the average person. Most people don't have the capability to go catch giant bluefin tuna. That's just not in it. But snapper, right? Maybe some rockfish, maybe some black drum in Delaware. Like that's the majority of the outdoorsmen. The majority of hunters, they're going to go out and they're going to shoot the first deer they see, or they only have a week to hunt, so they're going to kill a small buck or a doe, whatever it is. But that's the joy they get from it. And I think that the content creators that show more of that real stuff are going to be the more successful in the long run. The trophy stuff is going to wear out its welcome real quick. I think anyway.
I agree. I mean, it's already worn itself out. And like that's why when you see shows up on YouTube, like these very great, highly produced fishing shows up on the platform, they just don't perform that well because like that is their main focus, is exactly what you're talking about, just the trophy, right? And people, like, don't get me wrong, like catching a huge fish or a unique fish, there's still an appeal to it, but people want to be immersed right there in the story with you. It's like when I'm sitting here and I'm talking to this camera, I'm talking to you guys right now. But if I'm like this and I'm talking to somebody else, you're automatically just like a little disconnected from me because I'm not talking directly towards you. And I feel like that's why people that like the way that we watch shows and content has changed because we want to feel like we're there with you. We want to feel that relatability like you're talking about, like we want to feel like we're there,
Who do you watch? When you're winding down or you like to just relax and watch some shows, what are some ones you check out?
It's kind of funny because like when I want to wind down and relax, I don't watch, my competitors, so to speak.
Right.
Because
even anything in general. Maybe it's Law and Order. I don't know.
What's kind of funny is like lately to wind down, I've just been watching like, just different sailing channels, people just like running around the Bahamas and sailboats and stuff like that. And I think a lot of that has to do with I'm just itching to get back over to the Bahamas. But really when it comes to just like relaxing, I'm weird. Like I'm a weird dude. Like I like watching nature documentaries.
Yeah, dude. Me and my wife, that's our nighttime go-to.
Yeah. And like I love a good movie. Like nothing relaxes me more than like a good movie,
I watch a fishing show that's near you. Joe Pomarovo. Yeah.
George is a great guy. I've actually I've done a show with him. We did one about a year ago. And I film a couple of his shows every once in a while. And he helps me a lot. He's been a huge mentor towards me in the fishing industry. He's a great dude.
Dude, I like the fact that he always supported a restaurant at the end of the show. They took the fish and showed off a restaurant. He told you where they could go. They filmed the cook. I was like, I like this. Yeah,
Yeah, you hit on like right now you like to watch some sailing stuff, Bahama stuff, because you really want to get out there. It's exactly where I'm at with like boat fishing content right now, is because like I cannot wait for warm weather until stuff really starts kicking off. So like the best I got right now is watching someone else do it.
I'm ready to get the fuck out of here and head south, dude.
Yeah, I mean our beach season kicks off Memorial Weekend, and even then it could be cold. It could be You're not getting in the water to swim most times at Memorial Weekend because the water temperature is too cold. But at least all the bars are open, the restaurants are open. You talk about sandbars or just anchoring up in the bay, like we love to do that too.
I'll be in Venice, Florida, around Thanksgiving this year. I'm gonna bring my boat down there and fish. That'd be like my first. Better waters, nice clear waters. You know, not like up here where fuck the fish fry. I don't know what you're gonna see anyway. I mean,
Fingers crossed, man. You get some good weather. That's the most important thing,
yeah.
Yeah, not for sure. Well, look, dude, I don't want to keep you any longer. Thank you again. I appreciate it. I know it's late for you guys. I know you got a lot going on, family stuff. So appreciate it. We try to reach out to some people. Obviously, we're a little on the smaller side, just starting out, and some folks will reach out to are like, let's just take a chance. You're one of those guys. I'll reach out to these guys. See, maybe they'll say yes.
We'll appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'd really do appreciate you taking a couple minutes.
We're famous here, though. You know what I mean? We're famous. I'm on the wall at the high school. Come on, dude. Like, we're doing it. You know what I mean?
Hey, when are you going to do some fishing shows up around the Mid-Atlantic area?
I want to. It's just one of our biggest things is with our new boat sponsor. Every show that we do out of the center console, so to speak, has to be out of one of those boats. So, man, if I can get an opportunity to bring a front runner up to the Northeast, I'm all for it. It's just
I got a big ass diesel. I'll drive it right the fuck now. Pull it right up.
He's like, I'm in. Let's go right now.
No, man. But if you ever find yourself up this way, I would love to connect with you. I'd love to take you fishing, crabbing, something. If you want to see some, muddy water stuff, some brackish water things, we could get into some weird hillbilly stuff up here.
Yeah, we got hillbilly right down to the rich boardwalk. Whatever, we can hit both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, man, absolutely. But no, dude, the invite's always there. If you ever find your way up here, I'd love to stay connected with you. But yeah, man, really appreciate it, brother.
Of course, no, and I mean, it's just as valuable for me as it is for you guys. It doesn't matter if it's 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people. You guys took the time to choose me to tell my story. So, I appreciate that. I always enjoy giving back, and hopefully there's a lot of people that'll watch this and enjoy it. So I'm appreciative.
Yeah,
of
for
you
sure.
guys too.
So we mentioned it a million times, Life by the Bow on YouTube. Where else would you like people to go check you guys out?
Just show some love to the apparel brand, availgear.com, and if you guys want to buy a house down in the Keys, contact us as well. My wife is a full-time real estate agent down here. So
all right. So, and if I know anybody, since I'm an agent, she's going to be my referral agent for the Keys. Okay.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, I'm definitely going to have going to be rocking my Avail gear this summer, and so we'll share this all out, shout you out on all the socials, and if there's anything we can ever do for you, brother, you just let us know. All right.
Same here, man. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.